Welcome to this week's Ancient History News. Today I'm starting off with two megalith stories from southwestern England. The first is about the discovery of two Neolithic stone circles on Dartmoor in Devon, and the second is about the re-evaluation of an earthen stone monument in Cornwall that was thought to be medieval but actually dates back more than 5,000 years. I then talk about a remarkable discovery in a tomb in Syria. Stay until the end because this one has me baffled. I've done a video before on the origin of the alphabet in the Turquoise mines of ancient Egypt. It now seems that the whole story of the invention of the alphabet may need rewriting. Excuse the pun. Let's get into it. Two previously unknown Neolithic stone circles found on Dartmoor. Alan Endicott, a PhD researcher in the Department of Archaeology at the University of Exeter, has discovered two previously unknown megalithic stone circles that date back around 5,000 years. He found evidence for the sites earlier this year before a team of volunteers then carried out excavations between September and October to confirm their existence. The monuments were discovered in Dartmoor, an area with national park status in the county of Devon, southwest England. There are many Neolithic and Bronze Age monuments in Dartmoor, including standing stones, stone rows, menhirs, kist vanes, cairns, field systems, and the foundations of circular huts. One of the newly found circles has been named Merrivale after a hill nearby. It's made up of 20 standing stones measuring up to 1 meter in height each. The circle is actually oval in shape and measures 40 by 33 meters. Many of the stones are recumbent or covered in vegetation, and it's likely there were more originally. The other circle is 1.6 kilometers north of Merrivale and has been named the Irishman's Wall because of a natural land feature in the area. Only 6 stones have survived, so Endicott used resistivity and magnetic gradiometry to look for ground disturbances so that he could determine where the missing stones had originally stood. The Merrivale stone circle sits at the northern tip of an east and south facing arc of 8 Neolithic stone circles that stretch out over 8 kilometers. These aren't the first discoveries Endicott has made in Dartmoor. In 2008, he found another Neolithic stone circle near the hill Stitterford Tor, which sits at the southern end of this arc. He suggests that a full ring of stone circles may once have existed there, and this would have enveloped the highest land in Dartmoor. The Irishman's Wall is more than a kilometre north of the arc. Endicott thinks it may have formed an entranceway leading up to the other monuments. For those of you not familiar with the Neolithic and Bronze Age history of Dartmoor, here are a few other interesting sites there. Merrivale is a series of Bronze Age monuments including a 3.8 meter high standing stone, a stone circle, and 2 stone rows. Each of these stone rows is essentially an avenue made up of 2 parallel lines of standing stones around 1 meter apart. The southern avenue is 263.5 meters long and the northern avenue is slightly shorter. Grimspound is a Bronze Age settlement that is made up of the remains of 24 circular huts enclosed by a low boundary wall measuring as much as 4.6 meters in thickness at various points in it. A paved entrance to the village faces south. Each of the circular huts has a diameter of around 3.4 meters. They were built as double rings of granite filled with rubble in between. A fairly intact porch survives on hut 3 with 2 jamb stones and a fallen lintel. Interestingly, it seems the porches were built in an L shape, most likely to offer protection against bad weather. Excavations at Grimspound have uncovered pottery, scrapers, and cooking stones. Each hut contains a hearth in its centre and a raised area on the right side of each entrance that was probably a sleeping area. Although today Dartmoor is, as indicated by its name, covered in moorland, during the Neolithic it was largely forested. It was also warmer. Early inhabitants cleared these trees, and by the time Grimspound was built, the content of the hearths shows that the villagers were burning peat rather than wood. Dartmoor, like other parts of England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland, was a hub of megalithic activity for several millennia. What remains today is pretty extensive, and the fact that sites keep being discovered shows that people in prehistory created thriving communities there. Staying in the southwest of England but moving on to the county of Cornwall, another interesting megalith news story has come out over the past month. Earthen and stone enclosure found to be 4,000 years older than previously thought. On Bodmin Moor in Cornwall, an earthen stone structure formerly thought to be a medieval animal pen has been reanalyzed with some interesting results. According to an article in The Guardian, the monument is now known to date to the Neolithic between 3500 and 3000 BCE. Called King Arthur's Hall, although it has no historical association with the legend of King Arthur, the structure is made up of a rectangular banked enclosure that measures 40 by 21 meters and 56 standing stones measuring 1.8 meters in height, which line its interior. Nothing like this is known in Britain or Europe. A group of local amateurs carried out some investigations at the site, which led to a re-evaluation of the structure. The monument was then excavated by the Cornwall Archaeological Unit and archaeologists from the universities of Reading, Newcastle and St Andrews. They dated the soil using optically stimulated luminescence, the results of which showed that the inside of the monument had been dug around 5,000 years ago. Lead archaeologist James Gossip suggests that the monument may have functioned as a meeting place for a Neolithic group of people. Like Dartmoor, Bodmin Moor has many megalithic monuments dating back to the Neolithic and Bronze Age. 3 cairns and 16 stone circles have been determined to be Neolithic. By the Bronze Age, more cairns and stone circles had been built, as well as stone rows, barrows, and settlements. Bodmin Moor was also forested until people began to settle there during the Neolithic. What may be the earliest example of the alphabet discovered in a tomb in Syria? If you haven't seen my video on the origins of the alphabet, now's a good time to watch it. It's generally accepted that modern-day alphabets have their origins in inscriptions from the Turquoise mines at Herbythyme in the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. During the Middle Bronze Age, around 1900 BCE, workers at the site started to use simplified versions of hieroglyphs to express sounds. These phonemic symbols evolved into the proto-sinaitic script, which eventually transformed into the Phoenician, Greek, and Latin alphabets. Ultimately, all modern-day alphabets derive from this proto-sinaitic script. Now, the discovery of an intriguing inscription in Syria may well push the invention of the alphabet back by 500 years. The find emerged in 2004 as part of a 16-year excavation of Tel el Mara, a medium-sized urban centre dating to the early Bronze Age in western Syria. Near Eastern archaeologist Glenn Schwartz from Johns Hopkins University and a team from the University of Amsterdam discovered 10 tombs there, one of which was very well preserved and contained 6 skeletons, gold and silver jewellery, pottery, and 4 lightly baked clay cylinders. It's the cylinders that appear to contain alphabetic writing etched into their surfaces. Schwartz shared the details of the discovery at the American Society of Overseas Research's annual meeting on the 21st of November of this year. Each cylinder is 4.7 centimeters long and 1 centimeter thick and is pierced with a lengthwise hole. Radiocarbon testing dated them to 2400 BCE. There are 8 distinct symbols engraved on the cylinders, which Schwartz suggests represent the sounds A, I, K, L, N, S, and Y. These symbols are not related to any known languages, but Schwartz decoded them by comparing them to ancient and modern forms of West Semitic languages. It's possible they are people's names or refer to objects in the tomb. I'm really interested to see what will come from this. This isn't Schwartz's first attempt to bring attention to the possibility of an earlier origin for the alphabet than the inscriptions in Egypt. As an expert in the development of ancient urban societies, he is well acquainted with the history of writing, but that's not his main specialism, so he has discussed the finds with other scholars over the years, several of which do think he's onto something. There's been at least 1 paper on the subject, which is behind a paywall so I can't download it, and several articles, but overall there still doesn't seem to be much excitement about this. There's been so much research research on Serebit el-Khadim, and I wonder if this discovery really will change the origin story for the alphabet, and if so, where do the inscriptions at Serebit el-Khadim come into it all? That's it. Thank you for watching. I just want to say a big thank you to my patrons and channel members for all of your support. Please hit the like button if you didn't already, and I'll see you next time.